Good morning, everyone. As promised, we are at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base at the Air Force Museum, as you can see by the giant sign behind me. We're going to go in, shoot some footage, let you see the Memphis Belle, and perhaps a couple other things. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, we're inside now. We're going to start off with the crew before we go and take a look at this beautiful plane. Got quite an exhibition here. It's done very, very well. There's some idiosyncrasies that we'll show you about each of the crew members. We're going to try to keep this as flowing nicely as possible. There's people running in and out. It looks like the Memphis Belle is getting some work done on her, so there'll be some things that we'll have to talk about. So moving forward, Alan's going to take the camera and move toward the crew.
First Bomb Group Commander Colonel Stanley Ray flew 2 missions with Memphis Belle, while leading the group in combat. William Watt, Memphis Belle movement, also flew 2 missions, including their 25th, May 17, 1943. Another crew played a huge part in the success of the Memphis Belle, the ground crew. Crew Chief Joe Jombrone led the team that kept the Memphis Belle ready for combat. Without them, the flight crew could not have completed the tour. The Memphis Belle's primary flight crew hailed from across America, ranged from 19 to 26 years old. Pilot and Aircraft Commander Bob Morgan of Asheville, North Carolina, led the crew. Co-pilot Jim Verinis of Woodbridge, Connecticut, flew 5 missions with the crew, after which he commanded his own B-17. Morgan called Bombardier Vince Evans of Fort Worth, Texas, the spark plug of the crew, and one of the best bombardiers in the 8th Air Force. Chuck Layton of East Lansing, Michigan, flew several missions, guiding the entire group as the lead navigator. Harold Locke of Green Bay, Wisconsin, flew 5 missions as a waist gunner on the Memphis Belle, and then became its flight engineer and top turret. Radio operator Bob Hansen, raised in Garfield, Washington, carried a rabbit's foot on combat missions for life. Cecil Scott of Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, was almost too short to enlist. That worked to his advantage in the confines of the ball turret. Waist gunner Bill Winter, raised in Oak Park, Illinois, shot down a German fighter on the crew's last mission, May 17, 1943, one of 7 German fighters officially credited with the Memphis Belle's crew. Scott Miller, in the middle, was from West Virginia. He volunteered for combat and joined the crew partway through the tour. Miller did not complete his 25th mission until July. Tony Nastow of Detroit, Michigan, replaced Miller for the war volunteer. 19-year-old Nastow flew 25 combat missions, but only 1 on the Memphis Belle. Tail gunner John Quinlan of Yonkers, New York, was the only crew member to receive the Purple Heart, who received a thigh wound on a mission in March 1943. The crew's mascot, Stuka, was a crowd and media favorite on the war bond tour. Co-pilot Jim Verinis bought her in London. In addition to the primary crew, More than 40 other airmen flew in combat on the aircraft, including 5 missions where the Memphis Belle was flown by an alternate 10-man crew. 91st Bomb Group Commander Colonel Stanley Ray flew 2 missions with the Memphis Belle while leading the group in combat. William Wyatt, Memphis Belle movie crew, also flew 2 missions, including their 25th on May 17, 1943. Another crew played a huge part in the success of the Memphis Belle, the ground crew. Crew Chief Joe Giambrone led the team that kept the Memphis Belle ready for combat. Without them, the flight crew would not have completed the tour. The Memphis Belle's primary flight crew hailed from across America, ranged from 19 to 26 years old. Pilot and aircraft commander Bob Morgan, Asheville, North Carolina. Co-pilot Jim Veridis, Woodbridge, Connecticut, flew 5 missions, after which he commanded his own B-17. Morgan informed Bombardier Vince Evans, Fort Worth, Texas, Spartan, one of the best bombardiers in the Navy. Tough late, these guys in Michigan flew several missions, guiding the entire group. Darrell Block, Green Bay, Wisconsin, flew 5 missions as a way step and became his flight crew top first. Radio operator Bob Hanson raised the commercial voice after 30 rabbits. Cecil Scott of Holiday Bird is almost so short that work music confines of the ball. He's got a building part of the world. Not that weird one. Last week, he said he was going to 7 German fighters officially credited on the west side. Volunteer for combat and joined the
All right, guys, there you have the crew of the Memphis Belle. On a little side note here, this is a picture of the Memphis Belle at Wright-Patterson Field in July 1943. So she has been here before.
Memphis Belle's crew beat the odds.
All right, guys, going to give a little bit of footage on what led up to the Memphis Belle. I found this very interesting. This is an original fold out of the artwork that was in Esquire magazine. That was the inspiration for the Memphis Belle painting. Immediately following this, we're going to do another video that explains everything about the plane and the history of the plane. Highly recommend coming here.
Some of the footage you're about to see has never before been displayed publicly. Famous Hollywood director Major William Wyler and his cameraman flew in combat on the Memphis Belle and other bombers to shoot this footage, sharing the same risks as the bomber crewmen. One cameraman, Lieutenant Harold Tannenbaum, a 46-year-old World War I veteran, was killed while filming on a mission in April 1943. The storied Memphis Belle flew its first combat mission on November 7, 1942, early in the strategic bombing campaign in Europe. The pilot, Robert Morgan, named the Memphis Belle in honor of his fiancée, Margaret Polk of Memphis, Tennessee, and he carried a picture of her in the cockpit while flying missions. Talented artist Sergeant Tony Starcer touched up the original nose art, which had been painted in the U.S. from a pinup by George Petty. At the time, a bomber crewman could go home after 25 missions, but it was far more likely he would be killed, captured, or badly wounded before completing his tour. Bomber crews faced ferocious attacks from Luftwaffe fighters and skies filled with anti-aircraft fire known as flak. The Memphis Belle was hit on 7 of its 25 missions, with the worst damage occurring on a mission in January 1943. There were many close calls, like when a bullet flew just past the face of tail gunner John Quinlan, nearly killing him. The Memphis Belle's crew fought back, though, receiving credit for downing 7 German fighters. Swastikas painted on the aircraft represented these victories. In the spring of 1943, the Memphis Belle and its crew was selected for a special nationwide bomb tour to encourage citizens to support the war effort, if they survived the required 25 missions. As the mission count rose, the crew chief, Master Sergeant Joe Jambrone, painted a bomb for each mission and added stars when the Memphis Belle was a formation lead aircraft. Unlike so many others, the Memphis Belle's crew beat the odds and completed their 25th mission on May 17, 1943. Each crew member received the Distinguished Flying Cross to recognize their achievement. And King George VI and Queen Elizabeth personally visited the Memphis Belle's crew and its maintainers. In June, the Memphis Belle flew back to the U.S., becoming the first heavy bomber to return after flying 25 combat missions over Europe. Through the summer, the crew took the Memphis Belle to more than 30 locations across America on the highly publicized War Bond Tour. Thousands greeted them at each stop, and the Memphis Belle and its crew became national celebrities, heralded in newspapers and newsreels. The Memphis Belle's appearance changed considerably after the combat tour. In June, before leaving England, the aircraft was adorned with publicity markings, and people wrote and carved their names on the aircraft during the War Bond tour. The Memphis Belle's fame spread even further with William Wyler's 1944 movie, Memphis Belle, A Story of a Flying Fortress, and a 1990 fictionalized movie titled Memphis Belle. Today, this iconic aircraft remains a unique symbol of the bomber crew's significant contributions in defeating Nazi Germany and the enormous sacrifices they made to achieve it.
You're on.
All right, guys, without further ado, we're going to check out the Memphis Belle. Head that way. When we originally started to do this vlog, we had everything written down and all the information, but with everything that they have as far as video content here, we figured we would just record them telling everything and then show you the plane. Is the catwalk in between the two bomb bays. It should be terrifying.
Even more terrifying.
As you can tell, couldn't be a very big person to operate this turret gun. I'm 5'6" and I don't know if I could do it.
Seems to be missing something. All right, guys, that concludes the Memphis Belle for us today. If you have any other suggestions of things you would like to see up here, for example, we're thinking about doing the JFK Air Force One at some point, probably not today. We've got a lot of editing to do. I promise we'll get better at this as we move along. So having said that, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time.